There's not a single society or civilization in human history, in all of human history, that hasn't practiced slavery. It seems like it's an innate instinct that human beings have. If they have the capacity to enslave others, they will. Africans were enslaving each other. Chinese were enslaving each other. It's everywhere. It was in Greece. It was in Rome. It has been the norm throughout history across the globe. The only civilization that tried to end slavery was the West. We are the only civilization that has provided the language, the concepts to end it. The abolitionist movement began in Britain with echoes in North America. It was Britain that ended the transatlantic slave trade. They dedicated in the 19th century, in the 1800s, 13% of their naval resources were dedicated to simply blockading the coast of West Africa to try and end the slave trade, because the Africans were so gung-ho on keeping up the transatlantic slave trade. You had Dahomey members, the pre-Nigeria, actively going out and getting their fellow Africans to bring them to the slave markets. This was completely a mutual transactional transaction. Britain occupied Lagos in 1861 to try and decouple it from the slave trade. The Arabs, there's still slavery going on now, in a lot of Arab countries. So
one fact I heard pointed out is that the Arab nations had enslaved more people than North America and maybe even all of the Americas, and that the question was, well, why aren't there that many black people today in Arab countries? And the argument I heard made, I'm curious if you've heard this, is they enslaved people like crazy and then mutilated them, like turned them into eunuchs and made sure they wouldn't breed. Basically, it's like the most barbaric story. I was like, is that true? Like, that is, I guess it does. Like, where are all the black people? But
I haven't heard that. I mean, there's an argument that's made because it's a huge slavery literature, that actually American slaves, they live very well compared to those in the Caribbean. It is true that if you look at I just was reading, a historian was looking at one slave port of exit in Africa, only 1% of the slaves that came out of that port went to North America. They went to Latin America, to the Caribbean, to other places. We were not the main consumers of slaves. But in any case,
aren't American states like Vermont some of the first units of government to abolish slavery as well?
Well, I think
isn't that
Britain
my understanding?
was first.
But I mean, in the early, as far as who were the first five?
Oh, yes, but a lot of people, there was a backsliding. Some of them abolished it initially and then opened it up more. And there was some slavery going on in the northern colonies. But
I understand that the Quakers, who were strong abolitionists, actually had some slave stuff even while they were claiming to be strong abolitionists. So there's, I guess it's a messy history on several fronts there.
Yeah, but I'll be willing to pay reparations when I see Africa saying we're going to pay reparations too. Again, this is not unique. This sounds, I don't even know whether to bring it up because it can easily be dismissed, but American slaves actually measured just at pure, and I am not ignoring the psychological abuse and cruelty, heinous cruelty of this, but
separation of families, all of it.
Sometimes that may be exaggerated, but they did do better than a lot of white indentured servants. I've been listening on Audible to a fantastic book by Gordon Wood called the Radicalism of the American Revolution.
Yeah, I interviewed Gordon about this, and he told me some of it.
Of the white indentured servants, he said there's very little difference. That he sort of captivity, slavery, lack of power was absolutely endemic. There was a slight, difference. Obviously, it's better not to be a slave, but still, hierarchy and and unequal power was absolutely endemic in pre-revolutionary America.
So two wrongs don't make a right. Why is that an argument against the 1619 crowd? Just why does that matter? That we are horrible, but so is all of humanity. Why is that an argument?
Well, first of all, is the 1619 Project right in its history as an empirical matter? And I think the weight of historians is that their claim that the whole purpose of founding the American Republic was to preserve the slave trade, that just, it doesn't bear up. So I would say truth matters. But then the larger question is this the best strategy? If you want to close those racial gaps, which everybody does, and again, the gaps are behavioral and academic, those are the ones that matter, is the best strategy to go around still playing the victim card and demanding that standards be lowered on your behalf as blacks, rather than saying, we'll meet your damn standards and we'll best you at them. And I would say that the best strategy is the latter, and to give up playing the victim card.
Welcome back to Breakdown Friday. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carl Tone Jones. And yeah, we getting into this lady and her expert opinion on slavery and how black people in the U.S. should react to slavery and talk about slavery and stop complaining, stop asking for reparations, because everybody enslaved people. Black people are not special. Black people in America, black people in the West are not special. The slavery you endured is no different than the slavery anybody else endured. That's what she's getting at. Slavery is slavery. Black people in the West, especially in the United States, are complaining about something that humans do. So why are we continuously talking about slavery? I mean, Heather Macdonald has the answer. Heather Macdonald is the expert on this. And so you already know we finna get deep into this, because Heather tripping Heather on that. So we finna get straight up into this, because, you know, if you were like us and you were actually listening to what she's saying, she said a whole bunch of nothing. And she did a lot of finger pointing at other people, basically deflecting. And a white woman who clearly is defending the system of white supremacy is telling the people who are the victims of white supremacy to stop being a victim and to meet the damn standards of the white supremacists. Step your game up and be better. The white supremacists say the bar is here, so you better meet the bar and stop complaining, because, I mean, everybody was slaves. So black people in America, what y'all talking about? Even black people anywhere else, what y'all talking about? And remember, the same white folk that y'all asking for reparations are the white people who saved y'all from slavery. So remember that. But you already know, before we get deep into this, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share, support this channel. YouTube on that bull. YouTube doing some shadow banning. And people have been telling me that YouTube have been hiding the like button. So please, if you not getting the notifications, if the video not popping up, if you see the like button being hit, please get in the comments and let me know. But also simultaneously, please comment, please hit the like button, please share, so we can make sure this information gets out as far as possible. We need thousands of likes on these videos, thousands of likes. You see this finger? Hit that like button, or you support Heather Macdonald. If you don't hit that like button, and her name is Heather Mac and then Donald, I'll tell you why that is now. But before I get to that, I do want to give some shout outs. I want to give a shout out to the new members of the channel. DSB, big shout out. Abu Salam, Mumin, big shout out. Who's Left Entertainment, Mama Debus, The Bus, Ellie B, Corey, Tisha, Patrick, Say Bills, and PC. I want to thank all of you for becoming members of this channel and joining the OTSOG family, my brothers and sisters and my cousins. I appreciate you all for support of this channel. And all my new subscribers, thank you all for subscribing to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe if you haven't also. And you too, become a channel member for as little as $2.99 a month. Go ahead and do that. And remember, everything that you pour into this channel goes into what we do in the community and helping this Black History School. All right. We actually out here in the community with these kids. Shout out to Umar. Oh, yeah, I did it. So, yeah. Hey, the cat's out the bag now. We can do it now. But basically, this lady's getting into a comparison of slavery. She had the nerve to say that white indentured servants faced harsher conditions than Black chattel slaves. I'm gonna say it again. She said white indentured servants experienced worse conditions than Black chattel slaves. The fact that Black people are in America is that shadows your whole Heather. That shadows your whole argument, Heather. You on that, Heather? Allegedly, Heather, you might be on that. I don't know. You might. Allegedly, I don't know, Heather, because you sound like it. But man, let's go ahead and break this thing down, get into it, and educate Heather, like these new folks say. Let me educate you, okay? So, PC man, what are your thoughts on Heather's analysis of slavery and the comparison and the comparison of American slavery to slavery throughout human history and her downplaying of the conditions of slavery?
Well, I mean, you know, she's just like the guy that got popped out there in Utah.
Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, you know. Shout out to Charlie Kirk. She just like him, you know. They play games with information, so you just mix a little bit of the truth in there, and then everything else sounds like the truth. It's a real it's a real sharp game, but if you're not, because they're so, when people speak with confidence, people tend to think those people know what they're talking about. Yep. Or they're speaking truthfully and factually. And nah, come on, man.
Shut up, Heather.
Well, you know, one of the things that the last thing she said really blew my mind, because it was like she cornered the argument, and I love when I hear people corner the argument. She said the biggest discrepancies between the races is academic and behavioral. And by saying that basically means that Black people need to become, you know, get more college degrees,
yeah,
have more certifications behind their names, and white folk need to just treat Black people better, and or the races, because they never look at it from a perspective of them being at fault for anything, you know. And I'm saying them to my white folk who talk like this, and never look at themselves and with any shred of accountability for what happened. And so therefore, you know, we all, what was Riding King? We all just need to get along. Can we all just get along? And that's bullshit, because it just overlooks the fact that what was really the difference between the races is we don't have access to land, economics, or power, and we don't have access to our own resources. Everything policy dictates that we go through them to get all those things. So, and they're very, very, you know, and this is why we call it institutional white supremacy, because they create labyrinths of confusion, mazes, puzzles, and things of that nature that stands as a blockade against Black power. And they've actually created systems. I mean, I was just talking to somebody about COINTELPRO the other day. Like, there's no COINTELPRO to stop white power. You know, to stop there was supposed to be a monopoly laws and policies against monopolies, but they still let the people maintain the monopolies. That's why the Rockefeller family is one of the most powerful families in the world, because instead of, you know, truly making them sell off Standard Oil, they just told them, listen, just break it up into different corporations. And then you got what was called the Seven Sisters, which is Mobil, Exxon, and all those other Texacom, all those other entities, but they still got funneled down the same drain. So, and then to compare indentured servitude to African,
White indentured
white
servitude.
indentured servitude to the African slave trade is diabolical. First and foremost, most of those folk volunteered to come over to America, and then part of being an indentured servant was to either work off their wages or they were criminals, and America served as a prison colony for them. So they came, most of them chose to come to America to work off a debt. Now, and it's true, a lot of them had 7 years and 10 years to work off their debt. And some of the folk, white folk, who were in charge of their I won't call it captivity, but were in charge of their indentured servitude, they tried to work them to death so they never have to repay the debt, because they got at the end something called freedom dues. They got land, they got guns, and they got statutes in government. I mean, not in the government, but in society. That's why when you look at institutions like the fire department, you find out that there's a great deal of people who with an Italian lineage that are firemen. The police department, a great deal of them have Irish lineage. This is why. So, in the partnership and the deal, the transatlantic slave trade was the only one of all the different ones she mentioned. The transatlantic slave trade and the trans-Saharan slave trade are only two, that were race related. That was it. All the other ones were people getting losing wars. You know, now what she said about the Dahomey dynasty, you know, well, yeah, we know that. We know they just did a damn movie about that. You know, so we know that part. But that part paled in comparison to all the different things that happened. And if you're going to tell the story, tell the whole story.
However,
why the reason why Britain, the reason why Britain, became, the reason why they rejected slavery and the slave trade was because America was becoming too powerful. So they wanted to make sure America was becoming an economic powerhouse as a government, as a country. So they wanted to block that. And you talk about the majority of the African slaves were in the Caribbean and in South America. And that's true. But there were also slave breeding plantations, specifically in the DMV area in America. All right. And this whole push that white folk were the ones behind the push to rescue black folks from slavery. That's bullshit. The only one he can say that about is John Brown. The rest, what really forced or what really caused a lot of the pushes towards the abolition of slavery, and I'm not saying that there weren't any good white folk out there that saw this as a moral crisis of morality. But what I am going to say is the biggest reason that governments pushed towards the abolition of slavery had very little to do with the welfare of black people that were on those plantations. A lot of it had to do with who had, just like Britain, the northern states that eventually became the Union states, and the free slave labor states, it did not benefit them. It cost more money to house slaves in the North and feed them in the North. It was much easier to create factories, which were basically urban plantations, and which all you were responsible for was giving them a salary or a wage at the end of their job or whatever. And half the time they got worked to death. All right. And the southern states were gaining too much power. In addition to the fear that hopped across international waters from the Haitian Revolution, from all the different slave uprisings that took place on the various plantations around the country at that particular time. Those are the things, the primary motivators, the Gullah Geechee Wars. Those were the primary motivators for a lot of the then what became the abolitionist movements and the drive to end slavery from a government and policy perspective. None of those things, because once it was over, the abolitionists and the Freedmen's Bureau, all those, they left black folk out there to suffer and starve. They said their job was done. They didn't believe black. Frederick Douglass talks about how they abandoned black folk the minute the Civil War was over. So let's kill all that bullshit, with all of this. If black people, if Africans don't have to pay, I'll pay reparations when Africans pay reparations. Okay, well, they are making some more movements towards that in some African countries, talking about repatriation and giving black folk land over there. Now, how sincere it is much, and many of them have owned. We've received apologies from governments over there concerning their roles in the African slave trade, which is why the repatriation movements have been taking place. However, we have not received one single apology from the country that benefited the most from race-based chattel slavery. And with that, am I playing?
Go to hell, Heather. Go to hell. Your ass is a liar, Heather. Go to hell. Like, come on, man. Like, man, look, I ain't even playing with you, Heather, today. I ain't even playing with you because you full of it. Like you said, if you're going to tell the story, tell the whole story. Don't just tell the part of the story that made white people look good. Heather, you full of it. Heather Lynn Macdonald, who is an American conservative political commentator, essayist, lawyer, and author. She's known for her pro-police views in opposition to criminal justice reform. She's a fellow of the Manhattan Institute think tank and a contributing editor of its City Journal.
But before you go on, I know we're about to give it to Pat. Remember I told you black folks about think tank. Remember I told y'all the importance and powers of think tanks.
That's why I read that.
Okay, all right.
Hey man,
always,
just give people a little taste of who they're dealing with. Heather, she decided she want to talk. She's an author. She's an author of a couple books. She went to Yale and all that stuff there, so she know more about this than the rest of us.
She's the modern day Margaret Sanger, huh?
I'm just saying, and you Negroes need to stop complaining. So once again, if you support Heather, don't hit that like button. If you don't support Heather, hit that like button. Let's separate it from the rest. I better have as many likes as views, because if not, that means a lot of y'all like Heather. Pat, man, what you think about the bull that's coming out of Heather's mouth, man?
Well, I try not to think about it at all.
What's your technical Theodore analysis of?
I mean, she did a lot of talking, but she ain't say a whole lot. I mean, I think PC hit a lot of good points. So I'll come at it from a different angle, because the whole argument was centered around, one, she's playing words with friends. Because she's talking about slavery as if all slaveries are the same. And we know that they're not. Like, there's a distinct difference between what we went through here in America versus what it was called in other places, what they went through. Yeah, it was all slavery, in the same way that your first kid and your 10th kid are both your kids. But are they the same person? Do they look the same? Do they act the same? Do they behave the same? Do they smell? There's nothing similar about them outside of they both fit under this umbrella of being your child. All right. So beyond that, with all of the British ended this and the blah, blah, blah. Look, black people ain't asking the British. Black people in America, anyways, ain't asking the British for reparations.
Right.
Black people in America ain't asking the Caribbeans for reparations. So, and I'm not even for the reparations conversation because honestly, I think it's a non-starter. But if we're gonna have it and this is your pushback, that is boo-boo pushback, Heather. Because the truth of the matter is, you gave reparations to the white people that gave up their slaves. You did that.
Right.
You did that. Like, so for me, the argument ends right there. If you gave reparations to the rich people that owned slaves, and I don't care what nobody say, if you owned another human being, you were rich. I ain't say wealthy, but you were rich. You were rich enough to own another human being. So if you lost access to that human being and the government stepped in and gave you resources to compensate you for the loss of that, then why wouldn't the government step in and give resources to the person that and the descendants of the people that lost all those years of labor and activity because they were given all to somebody else? That to me becomes the question at this point.
Heather.
If you gave reparations to the Japanese Americans, Heather, to the slave owners, Heather, to the Native Americans, Heather, we even gave reparations to the Jewish people, Heather. And last I checked, the United States, the Holocaust, that was an ocean away, Heather. But the people that went through something on these shores that continue with all of the, hey, you even made a small gesture, right? You gave reparations to the descendants of the Tuskegee experiment, Heather. You did that. All right. What about the whole national experiment on the black community as a whole that happened for hundreds, at least 150 plus years, 250 plus years, where black folk were brought over, and ending the slave trade is cool. But by that time, America didn't need no new imported slaves. They could breed the ones that was here, Heather. So that's cute. You bring up what they did to stop the slave trade. But we didn't need a slave trade no more. If I got 2 rabbits in a cage, I don't need to buy more rabbits. I can breed the rabbits I got, which is what happened, Heather. So the whole argument to me is just, what are you talking about, white lady? But I find it interesting too. I'm noticing more and more white ladies coming out speaking this way as it becomes more and more prevalent in our understanding of the era, that white women own slaves too. So the whole narrative around, we used to just point at white men, evil white. Now we point at the white women and say, no, y'all were probably worse, because, well, we'll get into that later, or maybe we won't. But I stand on it. White women were probably worse for a number of reasons. So I just find that interesting too, that Heather from Macdonald's Forum decided that she wanted to open her mouth. She wanted to utilize her holster to talk foolishness. I just find that hilarious. She said a bunch. People just be using words.
But she's from the tradition of the United Daughters of the Confederacy.
Yeah,
and they were the ones who recrafted history, so they can turn those what are the words I'm looking for? Degenerates of the South into the losers, right? Into men of nobility in some way, shape, or form. And so this is not this is more prevalent now that we see it now, but they were the whole concept of donating monuments to Civil War, Confederate Civil War heroes that they concocted and things of that nature. They were the main driving force behind that.
Man, Heather, go to hell. Once again, go to hell, Heather. So basically, because you talk about how Britain were the first. Britain were the first on the front line of abolishing slavery. Yeah, after they benefited from it. So we're gonna skip over them benefiting greatly from the enslavement of African people. If you want to bring the, because you brought the British up, Heather. You brought them up. So that's your ass. You brought them up. So after they benefited from them, couple hundred years benefiting from slavery. Hey man, you know what? We done got all that money. And like PC said, we don't want the United States to be stronger than that. So let's go ahead and jump on this abolishment of slavery. But then she tried to make it seem like it was the white British abolitionists who came up with the idea, like the original idea, come up with to abolish slavery. No, they had the voice, Heather. They were in the position to have a stronger, wider voice. That's just common sense. If I'm a slave, or I'm a part of the group of people who are slaves.
I'm gonna cut you off. I ain't even gonna let you finish. The slaves had no ideas about ending slavery. None of them did. They did not have that idea until the white people said, you know what? We thinking about freeing you. What y'all think?
Because black folk was like, you know what? I like this. I like these conditions. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of cool. White people come over here. You know, this is kind of cool. And you know, black people saying that all throughout slavery, you know. So, but it's like she talks about, she's just gonna ignore the need for the abolition of slavery. Come on, Heather.
Yeah.
And then, you know, at the end, she couples it with, or she ended with basically that white gaze. Hey, black people, this is the standards. This is the white standard. Damn it. Meet the standards, damn it, because you can't just be victims of your oppressor. Meet the hey, Heather. I like your logic. I like her logic. So that's like, if we use her logic and we talk about the subject of SA, or like how you have to say it on YouTube, grape, right? So grape is something that has always happened throughout human history. All nations have had grapists. And so with her logic, women can't complain about it. Women have to stop being victims of it, because men, remember, men are grape too, right? And it happens to everybody. It's something that's a historical norm. So why fight it? Why talk about it though? And why try to fight back against it when it's just what humans do?
But I like this though. I love this though, because this goes against a lot of the conversations that, like, this spits in the face of a lot of the conversations that I've had with black folk who talk about how we need to be building allies and alliances outside of our community, and how you know, and they think they have they have access to somebody with a seat at a certain table. I like it when you have somebody who, even though this is not really straight talk, it's straight talk in terms of her intentions. Yeah. And I like the fact that it's out there and it's right in front of your face. And, you know, a lot of people try to pretend like they didn't hear certain things, but I really love the fact that you have these people out here who are bold enough to say it, you know, and bold enough to stand on it because they believe they have a platform. See, people got mad when Trump got elected because, oh, he's doing this and doing that. Yeah, Trump is going to be a wild card. You don't know what he's going to wake up and decide to do today or tomorrow. We really don't. But the one benefit is you get to see who your enemies are. They get to show you because they're bold enough to feel untouchable now. And this is the perfect time for you to sit back and take notes and identify who's who. And I think that we sometimes are afraid to address that, because then we realize then we have to break off some, like we have to break off some ideologies we have about this. Can we all just get along? Mindset that we have, a lot of us have, which is, in my opinion, has always been weak.
But I would even take it further. It's not the can we all get along mindset. It's the get over it mindset, because you're complaining about something that everybody does, even though the form of slavery that you people experienced didn't exist, because it didn't exist before the transatlantic slave trade. It didn't exist before slaves were brought in this area that is now the U.S. Because, she said white indentured servants were treated worse than the Africans. Bruh, do you know, do you all know that white indentured servants said, I'm out, we're not doing this no more, and they quit?
No, they teamed up with actual African slaves on northern plantations, and that's when the Irish became part of white supremacy.
They was able to quit.
They extended they extended their hand and said, okay, we will no longer see y'all as the niggas of England and so forth, of Europe. Now you two now can, if it'll stop all these rebellions in the north, then we will bring you along. And that's when the whole conversation switched from African slave trade to the whole notion we know now is black and white in America. All right.
No, yeah. No, but so, I'm talking about like the succession of, I believe they tried to when they was bringing the labor over here, using white indentured servants first. That didn't work out. The white folks said, we ain't doing this no more. They literally was like, we ain't doing this no more. It didn't work out with the Native Americans because they didn't survive. It worked with the Africans, and the Africans could not do what the white indentured servants did and say, we're not doing this no more.
But they couldn't believe
power imbalance.
I've talked to people who have Irish descent and how they had to change their names to blend in with to make a more common English ancestry or to give the impression that they were English. So they did have that play. But no, that's not what I was talking about. I know you want to focus on Macdonald, the Macdonald farm chick. I know you want to keep the focus on her. I'm talking about black folk who say the same. There's a lot of black people out there who say the same things that she just said about black people needing to get over slavery, about the fact that they look around and they don't see one slave owner. You know, I'm talking about those go along to get along Negroes that make things difficult for us because they then become, they get propped up in the places and gatekeep.
Well, yeah.
And certain things and they're the ones that get camera time. I mean, we've done shows on cats like that, right?
Officer Tatum, people like that.
What's the economist that's also this known? I always forget his name.
Oh, Thomas Sowell.
Thomas Sowell, right?
Ironically, he's probably quoted in that video.
Hey,
at some point, right? So this is good for them. It's good because there's a lot of black folk that, oh man, that just happened so long ago. Man, let's just let it go. Let what go? They're not letting it go. And the thing is, this is about resources for the future generations. There was a lot of Negroes got the fight beat out of them and was comfortable on those plantations. We don't like to talk about that. There was a lot of them that snitched on those who were down for the uprisings or those who were about to escape. There was a lot of them. Why do you think Harriet Tubman had to carry a pistol on her? It's because a lot of them cats, even some of the ones that snuck off with her, even her own brothers, she had to put a gun to them to make sure they kept walking. And imagine how many of those people that we're now ancestors of, those are some of our ancestors.
Well, let's be clear about this. Is something else we got to be clear about as black people. The vast majority of us are descended from those people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like as a community, we got to accept that the vast majority of us are descended from the people that was scared to run, that were scared. Like that's why our survival instinct is so strong. These are the people who their desire to survive was stronger than their desire for freedom. And that's why the community is one of the reasons, in my opinion. But also then you got people listening to like white women like Heather.
That's what I'm saying.
But you find these on these campuses and universities and stuff, and people who want to be part of the melting pot.
But they echo white women like this, and they use rhetoric from white women like this, and the one black Negro, Thomas Sowell, to say, hey, this is why you Negroes should stop talking about slavery, and this is why you need to start talking about reparations. Because I mean, look what happened. It's just a regular part of human history.
Oh, it's human nature. No, it's not human nature because the savagery. And let's talk about that part of it because that's one of the main cogs that made it different. Now, the savagery of it all. You know, smacking somebody, putting a chisel in somebody's mouth to make sure that you can put a funnel of porridge because the brothers.
See, that didn't happen.
Oh, of course it didn't. But the brother, I know I'm speaking fiction right now. But
yeah, you are. You read a Dr. Seuss book or something. That never happened.
What she read is fact. What she read is fact. She can't even really tell you who she got it from.
You know what? I'm sick and tired of you Negroes making up stories. White men never black women. Great black women. It never.
We all pass our limit. Just to let y'all know.
Why would a white man do that to a black woman when he's got a fine, scrumptious white woman with the body of a 10-year-old boy in the room next to him? Why would he go out into the yard and mess with one of you chocolate doodle burgers when he's got a what are y'all talking? None of that never happened. It never happened. It never happened.
Hey man,
but listen, and thanks for the comic relief, Pat. But yeah, it did happen, and then we ain't even talking about the slave making plantations in Barbados, Jamaica, all those different places where they manufactured how to make a slave. They wrote books, periodicals, news articles about how to maintain control of your slaves. That's why we have the so-called Willie Lynch letter out there, and it was so precise because they have manufactured. They broke the stuff down to a science. My bad, we went over. They broke it down to a science in terms of how to it's worked so well.
But that
didn't happen either.
But even that's part of the diabolical nature of Heather Macdonald, because she got a space between the Mac and the Donald. She said that was the worst decision she ever made. No, the worst decision you ever made, Heather, was talking. Okay, because she's saying another thing that she's using to throw and say this is why reparation happened. Hey, slavery in the Caribbean was far worse than slavery in the U.S. How do you know, Heather? Was you there? How do you know? How do you measure?
Well, Joe, you weren't a slave. You don't know either. She knows because she read a book.
I'm not the one saying
it. She read a book.
So she got
a good,
the funny thing
man that said that.
She was talking about their studies out there, and she got to a point where she was about to try to name something, and she couldn't think of what the site. There's studies out there.
She don't know what she read headlines.
But she's part of a think tank, and I think that's something that might go over people's heads.
Right.
See, the power of a think tank is this is all calculated. Somebody created this space for her. Somebody created her. So this we don't really understand the layers, and I mean that sincerely. And because we all want to believe we have a grasp on all the information, a lot of us, our egos won't allow us to understand, to even know that there's parts of these mechanisms that we still don't understand. Because if you haven't seen it all in operation, you've only been the victim of it, then you don't know. If you were in a bank when a bank is getting robbed and you weren't part of the plan, you don't know how they put the plan together. You don't know how they figured the timing. You don't know how they figured the routes out, how long it'll take the police to show up, which one of them they're going to pop to set the example. You don't know where they came with all these decisions. You don't know none of this stuff. But you do know the end result is they got out with that bag. Now, you might put a dye bag in one of them joints and sabotage one of them. But the bottom line is their process is so thorough and complete to the fact that it takes years after certain crimes are committed for them to actually dissect. And typically it's when they catch somebody and they make a deal with them and that person lets them in on what happened. We don't have anybody on the other side letting us in. But let's be clear about something else too. They didn't just voluntarily stop any of this stuff. They were forced to stop, and it was economic and policy in part. There was a whistleblower that stopped. There is the reason why they stopped doing the Tuskegee experiment. It was a whistleblower. somebody who saw the documents and leaked it. It was a whistleblower who leaked out the COINTELPRO papers and the 5 steps, the 5-point program of the COINTELPRO papers.
I'm gonna jump in right here, PC, because you keep bringing up the Tuskegee experiment.
I only brought it once. You brought it up.
When you Negroes consistently bring it, it lets me know, because black folk were in the experiment. I'm channeling my Anna Heather. She couldn't talk when she was trying to talk either.
Oh,
black folk was trying to specifically Pacific Oceanly,
Atlantically, too.
Pacifically, Atlantically, and Arctically,
Indianly.
Black women were nurses. Black men were psychologists at the time. No, I don't want to hear this about black men couldn't be psychologists, because I read a book from a guy.
Right.
He used to be alive.
Right. Hey, no, but to highlight once again the think tank point, right? Because we know white supremacist think tanks help get the ideas and the plans and stuff flow for what they're going to do for the society at large. And black people are complaining that Trump is erasing black history. Well, I'm just saying, when you got folk in think tanks like this spreading lies and rumors like this who are part of think tanks, so everything that come out of think tanks, all the information that come out of think tanks help get pushed. So when people like this are out there, that help to push of what's now happening of the erasure of black history and all these things, or the downplaying of black history, or even saying that, hey, like Heather saying, slavery wasn't that bad in the U.S. I mean, think of most of the slaves were not brought to the U.S. Like that. That matters.
She said most of the slaves in America live quite comfortably compared counterparts of the Caribbean.
Are you serious?
How about being a damn slave?
Are you serious? How?
Wait a second. Let me defend this honorable white queen.
Oh my God!
Go ahead,
call a white Nubian queen.
White
you bunny hopper.
Well, wait a second, and I want to say this real quick too. I spoke about black women because I know we're in the middle of a gender thing right now. I spoke about black women because white women have done a great job at turning us against each other, and we are listening to a queen Nubian white Candace right now. You know what I'm saying? This is right. So, I'm just continuing with the narrative, but to continue on to defend this honorable white Nubian princess,
Heather Tunde.
Oh,
all right, you win.
We didn't let the floodgates out on this shit.
But look, to defend her, right?
What's the difference?
You guys ain't coming with no facts. What she spit was all facts. You guys say slavery in America was bad. All right, I say slavery in America was not as bad as it was in the Caribbean. My proof is, look at how y'all live now compared to how those white deficient people live in the Caribbean right now. Prove me wrong. Where are your facts to prove me wrong?
So, because some of the things that come to mind, and now she didn't really get into it, but I was looking up some things.
She didn't have to. She white, Joe.
Right. But I was looking up some things as of what would be some of the factors that you would use to say that slavery in the Caribbean was worse than slavery in Americas. And it was no real factors that showed that slavery in the Caribbean was worse than America. It just, the conditions were different. But how do you go from one being worse than the other? Like, one of the things they was using was lifespan. So the lifespan of a slave in the Caribbean could be 10 to 20 years, but at the same time, they still importing slaves in. Remember, before the slave trade ended, slaves couldn't be imported into the Americas, not as long as some other places and stuff. I might be off on that.
Let's be clear about this too, though, right? in America, we were under the direct hand of our oppressors.
Mm-hmm.
In the Caribbean, a lot of the times, not all the time, but a lot of the times that was not the case. That's why they have a whole other class, the mulatto class, that upper class black folk. Where do you think those people come from? Where do you think those leaders, that leadership caste, where do they come from? They were able to, right. They were able to throw off the that's also why they were able to throw off the shackles of their oppressors so much easier. All they needed was a spark, and when they got the spark, they ran with it. Go team! But this also ain't the victim of the Olympics. It's just talking about the differences. We didn't have a leadership class. The capos over here during slavery turned into, at one point they were that, but then eventually they found a more efficient way to manage the system. That's when these Irish or these white indentured servants that they love comparing us to, because we were all on the same plantation. But those white folk, they were the capos. They were the leadership class. They were the motherfuckers that were directing traffic, directing business. That was their role in a lot of situations. So you still had white leadership. And then underneath that, so you got your white capos, but now you got your black lieutenants that are holding up the structures. There are no black capos in a well-defined plantation, from what I've been able to read and research, based on slave narratives, based on the people that were actually oppressed by the system. Now, when you read stuff from the white people that benefited from the system, you get a whole different narrative. So you got to pick who you're going to believe. Are you going to believe the white folk who benefited, who say that it wasn't that bad? I took care of my slaves. I gave them 2 meals a day. I gave them 6 hours of sleep. I gave them time to party and all of this. Are you going to believe the slaves who said, no, this was horrible. They whipped us to within an inch of our lives and then poured salt in the wounds. They raped our women and then stuck the men in shacks so that they couldn't, so that they wouldn't try to gain retribution. They did all of these. Who are you going to believe? And white women, this white Nubian queen chose to believe her white African king.
Hey, man, but the statement of my slaves didn't live that bad. Just that there, just that there. But now I do want to say something just to be clear, because I know somebody gonna be like, it was a mulatto class. We know there was a mulatto class.
Yeah, we
in
know.
America. We know they turned to the bourgeois boule class of people. We know that, but they didn't have the same power as the other one.
So if you say that in the comments, you don't understand what I'm saying, and you need to go and do a little bit more research. We are well aware that in the early stages, even after the war between the North and the South, we are well aware that a lot of the political gains made by so-called black folk at the time were mulattoes. Those were mixed race peoples. Yeah, we are well aware of that.
They were still in the Americas though, and they were still under servitude. They was
Right. They the book The Klansman, which later became the first full-length motion picture. Birth of a Nation was based in that whole concept. And and one of the things that I think that is important too is the whole a lot of the funding that went into the creation of HBCUs was for that mulatto class to be educated, because they didn't want to educate them in white universities with their, blood children.
But it wasn't that bad though, PC. Like the black experience in America wasn't that bad, PC. That's what happened.
Hey, look, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, and that comes from all of Heather's wonderful truths. You guys need to get on board.
Heather created that, man.
Heather gave birth to Tupac. Y'all don't know.
But this is what white supremacy is. This is white supremacy, Red. This is the maintaining of the system. We keep telling y'all about white women are just as supportive, or even more supportive of the system of white supremacy than white men. White men are the arm, the muscle of it.
That's why I need to check out this book. All right. I need to check out the compartmentalizing and the concept
Compensatory card.
I'm
Everybody being crumping today.
I
Yeah,
was going to tell
I'm
you
not
that
being
earlier
crumping
today.
nothing. I haven't been crump.
Ben Crump, the compensatory code book. All right.
Heather did.
Oh, Heather definitely crump.
You know, it's the counter racist code. We need to understand, because in the beginning of the book, it tells you, if you don't understand what racism, white supremacy is, what it does and how it operates, everything else only serves to confuse you. And we have a lot of people out here right now talking about some man that is Metamucil. You know what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate because, and I was thinking about it earlier too. It's funny that we're having this conversation, but you know, the whole push behind reparations, it's a righteous cause. It's righteous, but it'll never work the way they keep trying to do it. You can't build it with a group, like, let's say a family divided cannot stand. We are too divided as Black people, and we're easily divided because we don't want to acknowledge our roots. We don't want to, and those of us who share roots with us don't want to be kin with us. And then you find most people just want to team up, and then they become subjects to the greater power. They want proximity. They don't want their own power. They don't even want the responsibility of having their own power. Because just like that, we also have the blueprint for Black power written by Dr. Amos Wilson.
Hey,
You want
to know who want the responsibility of power for Black people? Heather. That's why she telling us what actually happened to our ancestors, because she's the expert on it. She know more than anything. Slavery is something that is supposed to happen. And you're supposed to shut up about it and just take it, because it wasn't that bad. You had pillows and you might have got one meal a day. I mean, come on, man. Like a whip don't hurt that bad. Come on, Heather knows. Heather get whipped all the time.
This is akin to going to a restaurant, eating the food, asking for seconds, and then saying, the food wasn't that good. I'm not going to pay for it. I don't want to pay for it. And creating an argument as to why you benefited from the food. You got a full belly, but I don't want to have to pay for it. I should tell you why I don't have to pay for it. This is white folk white-splaining about why Americans should not participate in compensating Black people. And it's funny how, like, because Pat ran off a whole gambit of list of people who every year get reparations from America. Every single year get reparations from America. You know, the funny thing about the Holocaust, right? That's the thing was funny about it. But the interesting thing is how America backdoored its own policy to become part of that war, just to get in there and fight. And that the most valiant troops of that war were all the Black soldiers. Nobody, you know, that's something that gets lost when people do their revisionist history. And Black folk, I kind of blame you now because you know better. Back then, maybe not, but now you know better. You are willing, as Malcolm said in his message to the grassroots, you are willing to bleed for Uncle Sam, but you're not willing to bleed for your own. And the only time we bleed for our own is when we're bludgeoning each other. But we're not bleeding for our own, we're bleeding from our own. And
Well,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just the irony doesn't get lost on me And the amount of fear mongering, or not fear mongering, but fear induced filibustering that goes on when the call to action has been going out like a dinner bell every day for I don't know how many years. And when I'm talking about the call to action, listen, if everybody that participates in a war is not necessarily those who take place in that's going to be a part of the gunfight. You got sponsors, contributors, you have those who are academic or educators, those who are strategists, those who understand that there are roles to be played. But you punk ass warrior scholars, I know Joe just keep writing down the times.
You can say ass.
Okay, good. Punk ass warrior scholars who want to be out here, Twitter fingers and all that other stuff. This is why they feel comfortable coming for us, because they know at the end of the day we're a bunch of paper tigers. There's no real threat to disrespecting black people. In fact, black people are always put on edge. I'll never forget when the whole situation when George Zimmerman snuffing the life of an innocent teenage boy by the name of Trayvon Martin, simply walking to the damn store. That I'll never forget how there was a whole national conversation about the talk.
Steve Harvey was leading that jump too. Shut up, Steve Harvey.
He wasn't the only one.
I know. I just want to say that.
Then when you had the situations with John Crawford the third, you had what was the brother in New York, Eric Gardner. Then you had Mike Brown, and then later Ezell Ford out in Los Angeles. In the 3-week span, you had those brothers lose their lives in the summer of 2015. It was 2015, right? No, was it 14? It might have been 2014, 2015, right? But then the conversation peaked this ugly head again. We just have to, because our job is to survive the encounter. And I tell my children to do this. Listen, the fact that you can send your children out there unprotected, and then it means you don't care enough about your children. And we can go back to, what's her name, Ruby Bridges, back in 1954. Who were her punk ass parents? I'm dead serious, man. Who was her punk ass parents? Because we don't like to talk about that. We seem to look at Ruby Bridges. She was a child at that time, and maybe she just did not have the ability. We done made Joe turn the page. Maybe we didn't have the ability to even grasp the concept of what happened because of the programming that she had to endure and the trauma she had to endure, and amongst the other young black children who were sent to school, bus to schools. There's no way in hell I would march my children in front of a firing squad or send them in front of a firing squad without being right there in front of them, being their shield. And we don't have enough people that are brave enough to even say the things we're saying.
So
no, of course not.
So basically, you saying all the black people you talking about support Heather?
Yeah, they do support Heather.
Unfortunately, their actions do.
No, they do.
And their mindsets, and their parents,
and them, and their spirit,
and their kids.
They drink white women breast milk. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, and they only pick up white rabbits.
PC is being serious, Joe.
Me too.
I'm gonna get it through.
He said, "I'm gonna get it."
I'm getting how to point home. We don't, and I get why we had to be serious. Why we joke about it, because we know that this won't be the spark, right? The spark should already be in you. The spark of life should already be in you. But most of us are dead men walking, dead women walking. We're zombies out here. Most of us, we ain't what we beat on our chest and say we are. And all this speaking truth to power don't mean if you ain't willing to do anything to power. My bad, Joe. God.
You only saying y'all ain't look. I got a North Philly beard.
Oh my
God. Floodgates are open.
Okay.
hey, matter of fact, Heather growing her North Philly beard.
Oh, boy.
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
What kind of oil should she use, PC? She grow a beard out. Heather texting me right now. She said, ask PC what kind of oil should I put on my beard, and do he want to play in the snow?
Hey, line them up.
Oh God.
Hey, but I'll say this.
Heather gonna have a fade. Heather gonna have an all even fade with some diamonds in there.
You know what's crazy though is Heather probably look at this video and won't even respond, but the white men will.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say white women are the most dangerous people on the planet, because almost everything white men done is messed up. I'll go so far as to say everything. If Heather can make up history, so can I. Mm-hmm. Everything that white men have done in the history of the planet Earth and Earth. Mm-hmm. And Earth, the black place and the white place, has been done behind a white woman. They are the real masterminds of this divide between black men and black women, of the divide between black people and white people, the divide between rich people and poor people. All of the isms, all of them stem from white women. All of them. Every last single one of them. And what we have here from this white woman is an example of white women, white womaning. And we ain't gonna stand for it because we sitting down. But I'm gonna stand up in a minute, but I ain't gonna be standing up for that. I'm gonna be standing up because I gotta go use spot.
Hey, but you know, going into what PC is saying, you know, or building off of what PC is saying, but also
how you gonna skip over what I just said? You can't just do that.
You want Heather to? I'm gonna tell Heather to text you too. Hold up. Pat said, "What that Heather do?" There you go.
Nah, bro. I'm scared of Heather. I'm over here.
But she's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Heather's rhetoric is dangerous. What Heather is doing is dangerous, and it's dangerous for black people because it puts us in the position to where, like you say, those radicalized white men are like, hey, these Negroes are enemies to the United States. These Negroes need to be taken out. These Negroes are, you know, they're going to be the ones that's trying to take our freedom and trying to take our country. You know, like even when Obama's first term, when we would listen to those AM radio stations to hear those white men talking about there's a race war, stuff like this fuels that. Hey, that smart white lady said, all these Negroes are lying about this slavery stuff and all this stuff, and that they're just trying to take our country and lying. She's dangerous. Mm-hmm. We got jokes, and we got jokes for her because she's stupid, but she's dangerous.
She's not stupid. Let's be real. Let's be real. We got jokes for Heather because y'all won't listen to us otherwise.
That too.
Yeah. Like, let's just be real about it. We can't have the conversation we need to have or we want to have because y'all won't listen unless we being silly.
Well, of course, if y'all ain't got it by now, I just want to bag on Heather. So, but yes, Pat is right as well because
no. And PC's right as well, because let's be clear, this is the reason why old people champion young people being out on the front lines, because old people are scared to be out there. Mm-hmm. That's how a lot of y'all got to be old, standing behind somebody else, and not a young generation and coming up. And that's why y'all be excited to see the young people rallying at them college campuses while you safe at your house, and to see them young people out there in the streets blocking traffic while you safe at your house. I think all of it's stupid, and I'll be out there telling them it's stupid. But at least I'll be out there telling them they stupid while they out there being stupid.
Hey,
Y'all just be sitting at home saying, God, them white people, them young people got the answer. And I say that because it's just more of the Ruby Bridges thing. It's more of it. It ain't Ruby Bridges' fault that her parents sacrificed her on the altar of black American. You know what I'm trying to say. It ain't her fault that she was sacrificed on that altar. Just like it ain't that lady's fault who was integrating schools out in California, got shot in the face with a shotgun with powder in it, and now has been seeing black spots for the rest of her life. She's been seeing, her vision has been impaired because her parents sent her into a dangerous environment to integrate white people's schools. And we would look at her and call her a hero instead of looking at her parents and saying what PC said, what y'all got going on over here? Or instead of looking at those other black kids whose parents said, ain't no way. My kid ain't no way. And they sent their kid to the Negro school, which is what I would have done. Ain't no way. If I was back then, my kid, somebody come, hey, Patrick, we really want your kids to integrate. I'm closing the door right in their face. We ain't even having that conversation. Are you serious? Nah, tell Becky Sue, Jimmy, and Tyra, and you know, all of them kids. See, I don't even know good white people names. All I hang around is black people. But all of them people be better off, safer, going into my kid's school than me sending my kid into their school. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just accelerating, you know, co-signing the point PC made that a lot of y'all are definitely afraid. And it's crazy too, because white women, no matter what the movement is, they find a way, in the words of Bill Burr, to step their red bottom boots over the rope of injustice and tolerance and land on the side of victimization. Hey, it is truly a skill.
When you can send your women out talking like this and nothing, there's no repercussion. No, matter of fact, when you just know you can send your women out like that, that's how you know that the group that you're opposing, you think that you know they're soft and they know they're soft because you can send your women out. I'm just saying.
Man, I'm not even the young athletic combat women. We sending out the old broads. Hey, go man. She probably get taken out by a flight of stairs.
Hey man, look, Heather is a non-threat in real life, but yet Heather can go out because she's empowered by the system of white supremacy. Hey, and y'all, hey, keep taking these think tanks lightly.
That's real.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how stuff disappeared. These ideas start somewhere.
Yeah. Listen, we've been talking about think tanks for God. We talk about it in the Independence Day Project. We be talking about the necessity to build think tanks. People think the comment section is a think tank. They really do. And I'm not no shade at anybody in these comment section.
No, that's shade for everybody that think a comment section.
I'm trying to tell you, man. Listen, I'm just saying, man. We are really out of our depths, man. This is wild to me. I'm done.
You win on. That's the wildest thing that's been said all night. People think the comment section is a think tank.
Have you read some of the pieces?
I don't be in the comment section. I told y'all that.
Hey, it had been some dissertations in the comments. It has, and now
citations and everything.
You hit that read more, and it's 7 paragraphs, man.
I don't be in the comment section because I figure ain't nothing but negativity in the comment section. So I don't even be in it.
You missing that, Pat?
No,
it ain't just this comment section, but I'm just saying. Okay,
I be in other people's comment sections, but I don't be in our comment section because I don't want to read nobody calling me a black, broke, ugly bastard that don't know shit. So
they say you look like Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing. That's exactly what I just said. They just put a name on it.
Hey man, y'all already know what it is. Heather can go to hell, and everybody else who support white supremacy can go to hell with it, and all the weak black folk can go to hell with Heather too. Stuff like this gonna continue to happen because it can. So black folk. Once again, what the hell we gonna do about it? What we gonna do about it?
Nothing.
Like,
Nothing.
hit that like button. Hit that like button, or you support Heather. If you're a man and you don't hit that like button, you want to be with Heather. And if you're a woman and you don't hit that like button, you want to be like Heather. So prove me wrong and hit that like button. And let's make sure we get this video out, comment, share, because we had fun and we got jokes for Heather. And we got jokes for y'all too. But we serious about the information that we dropping in this. But we having fun at the same time. So man, that's how we do it over here.
What if you were transgendered?
Make sure y'all go to fatlifestation.com. Check out PC and everything that he got going on. And after that, go to thepax.org and check out everything that Pat got going on. And I'm gonna throw that question right back to Pat. What should we do if they transgender? Pat, you tell us.
Well, you was the one talking about
what ideas you had.
You a man.
What ideas you had?
I ain't got no ideas. I'm not Dave Chappelle.
Hey.
All right, I ain't got to smoke with nobody.
Nah. Hey, I don't know if just pick a line. I don't know. Pick a line. Either way, if you don't hit the like button, you like Heather. Either way, right? Pick a line. So on the shoulders1.com, make sure you check it out. Thank you to everybody for the support, the continued support. Thank you once again to my channel subscribers, everybody who subscribed, DSB, Abu Salam, Mumim, Who's Left Entertainment, Mama the Bus, Ellie B, LB, Corey, Tisha, Pat, Say Bills, and PC.
Bro,
y'all the realest ever.
What?
Thank you.
Mama the what?
Mama the Bus.
Is that the
Mama
boy?
the Bus. DEBUS. And don't talk junk about the family. Watch your mouth.
Hey, nah, because we
Watch
family.
Watch
we
your
black
mouth.
family.
Watch
Black
your
family
mouth.
get roasted.
No, you. Hey, don't.
Nah,
you,
nah,
no,
nah,
no,
nah.
no, not the members.
Mama the Bus.
No, watch your mouth. You will get ran over. Nope.
Hey, I'm just. Hey, who riding on the? What the bus doing? Who riding?
I ain't even let you go do it. No, I'm so loud. No, I ain't gonna let you do it.
Nah, I love y'all for real though. You said no. All right, fine. I don't love y'all. Mama the what? Who is the boy?
He do love y'all. He's that.
What was it? Mussolini Mucinex? What was the other one?
That's why you look like Wesley Snipes. That's just
I do.
Just
I look like 90s Wesley Snipes though.
Don't nobody want to be 2025 Wesley.
Right. I look like Passenger 57. Hey, get it right.
Yeah, commenter. We gonna throw shots, throw correct shots, commenter.
Right. Like I ain't heard a Wesley Snipes joke before.
And shout out to everybody who leave lame joke comments and put the laughing things behind it and then get no reaction on that. Shout out to y'all. Yeah. Yeah. But man, we catch y'all on the other side. We wild now. We catch y'all on the other side. Peace out, man.